So in this video, we're going to show you how you can use Dialogflow directly inside of your Flow Builder. You can even enable slot filling, which makes life a little bit easier because this allows you to also map certain custom fields, certain responses inside of your own custom fields inside your chatbot. So the way to do this is basically almost the same way as we do with the default reply. Instead of triggering the default reply, we're going to ask the user for a specific question. So we could insert a question block. And from this question block, we can just go with a text example. We are going to save this response inside of a custom field. I normally use my custom field response. And from here, we can do some magic with the Dialogflow integration itself. So if we take a look, we can continue to a next step, go to an action block. From this action block, we can go to the integration section. And from here, we can go to Dialogflow. If we go and edit the action, we can select our Dialogflow agent, which will be Dialogflow UJet course. We can also reset the context if we need to, right? So if a person needs to basically start over, it's always good to reset the context. In this case, we will set it to no, but we are going to enable auto slot filling. This means that all the questions inside of Dialogflow that we set on the actions and parameters will be asked until all the parameters have been given. And then, and only then, will the action block continue. We can go with a query text, and a query text we just saved inside the question block inside of a custom field. So we can just go with a custom field called response in this case. And we can also test our query here directly. So let's say we are going with I am searching for a car. We can go towards the full response tab. And we can test the request here and see what we get back from Dialogflow. As you can see, the first question which is going to be asked is under the fulfillment text. What brand are you looking for? Because if we take a look under the actions and parameters, this is the first question that is going to be asked if this parameter has not been given yet. So this is the first question that is going to be asked, right? And we can also go and see if all the required parameters are already present. If you take a look here, you will see that all the required parameters present has been set to null. And only when it's set to true, you will see that all the parameters have been given. Below, you will also see all the available parameters for this intent. So we have the car model, we have the car brand, and we have the car year. And each of these parameters we can save. So for example, if we want to save the car parameters car model, right? We can do so inside of our own custom field. So we can map the response to a custom field. If we just search, because I already have one, I believe. So let's go with model. We can then press the button add. And we can save this parameter. We can do the same with the car brand. So let's go with brand. There we go, and add it. And the same goes with car year. So let's do that as well. So we can now save all the parameters that we get from Dialogflow inside custom fields. We can press save. And now we can basically continue towards the next step. And the next step will be that we are now going to send the response, because this action block only continues when all the parameters have been asked. So when all the questions inside of Dialogflow, this one, so the car brand, the car model, and the car year have been asked, and the user answered these. So only then will this action block continue, because we enabled the auto slot filling on this. Previously, inside of an earlier edition of the Dialogflow integration, we needed to do conditional based check to see if all the parameters have been given. But now we also enable this auto slot filling, which simplifies this integration greatly. Because now we can just enable slot filling, press save, and we only continue towards the next step if all the parameters have been asked. So if we now take a look, and say something like send a message, we could say basically the same thing. So we can just respond the replies back towards the user. So as you can see, we just have all the custom fields that we mapped inside the Dialogflow integration. And we can now just showcase them towards the user. We can then also, for example, press a button and say, and from here you can continue any way you like to. So if you want to search the car brands, model and year inside of a database, you now already saved all the values inside of custom fields, and you can connect by an API call, for example, or you can look it up inside of a Google Sheet if you have one. And you can basically do anything at this point what you like to. So this is the way that you can use the Dialogflow integration inside of the Flow Builder itself. One additional step that we can also show is that there is a system field for Dialogflow that could help in some use cases. So if we go with a text message and go towards the variables, you will see that we also have a Dialogflow system field. And from here you will be able to access any of these datas, and you can also map them if you want to. So it could be that you want to map the intent detection confidence. So if the intent detection confidence is really low, you might not want to reply towards the user because the reply could not be properly sent, right? So if the detection confidence is high, then you can just proceed the flow as usual. And otherwise you can, for example, hand it over to a live agent, a live chat agent. So it's good to know that there is a system field called Dialogflow, which you can use to map any kind of system parameter from the Dialogflow integration as well. So let's see if this is working correctly. So what car are you looking for? Let's go with a BMW. Then we are going with the model, let's say X7. And the year, let's do 2004. And now we should get back all the values. So to confirm, you are looking for a BMW with model X7 from the year 2004. And we can then press the button, yes, that is correct. And if we do so, we get the follow-up message. So great, let me check and get back to you shortly. So this is the way that you can use Dialogflow inside of your Flow Builder directly instead of setting it as a default reply as well. So you can do a mix of both, right? So for my own chatbot, for example, I have my main Dialogflow agent set as a default reply, and then also have certain flows where I just hand the question over to Dialogflow with this action block instead. So this way I can get all the values back properly, map them to my custom fields, and then continue the flow any way I like to. So this was the conclusion of the course. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us and we will help you the best way possible. For now, have a great day, take care, and talk soon.